Good afternoon, everybody. Rusty Blackwood here, and I'd like to welcome you to my loft. As you can see, we are back inside. I haven't done a video in quite some time. I don't think I've done a video since, I don't know, last Easter, um, I think. I'd have to check my files to find out, but I think that was the last one that I did. Um, there's with everything that's been going on with this virus, it's just brought everything, totally everything, to a halt. Um, that's why you haven't been hearing much from me, because I haven't been able to do any events. We haven't any of us authors, local authors here in Niagara or anywhere for that matter. And I must say, I mean, it gets a bit much. Um, when we weren't on lockdown, the bookstores were open for people to go in, but they weren't doing any events with any of the local authors. So I mean, we couldn't go in and present our work. We couldn't go in and meet any prospective readers, introduce them to our work like we were doing before. And so you can promote online, because that's the only avenue, the only outlet we have to work with. But it's not quite the same. It's impersonal, because it's not quite the same as um, doing in-person stuff. And so hopefully, I'm hoping that this year will be better, that this spring will bring um, the ability to go in and do public events. But today I wanted to do a Valentine's video. Uh, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and all over the world, and Monday is Family Day here in Ontario. Um, and so people get like an extended weekend. They get Monday off. This yesterday was a PA day for children, so the school teachers, just got back to school in class in the building, and and then they get a holiday, and then of course they get Monday off too. So I guess there's nothing like pulling down a massive salary when you really don't have to work overly hard for it, let's put it that way. And I know there's going to be people out there that may take offense to that, but at this point in time, I don't care. And the children, they had to take their classes online, um, and so therefore teachers weren't having to do their job. Parents were doing the teacher's job, and grandparents, and whoever retired teachers that may be friends or something that could come in and lend a hand. But the teachers themselves, I don't know what they were doing. I'm sure many of them had children themselves, so therefore they could continue to practice their craft that way. So I'm hoping that things will get back to normal, settle down, and be much better than it was. I mean, there's so much going on there. I have my own opinions on so many different things. I will not be taking the vaccine, um, and none of my family will be either. Um, it's not safe. There are people dying. There are people becoming violently ill than they never were before. And so all I can say is, I can speak for myself to say that I will not, and they can put as many requirements and stipulations on me as they wish. I will not comply. I value my life. I value the life of my family, and I am not going to jeopardize that in any way to make someone else feel safe. When you stop and think about it, it will all fall into place, and research it and find out about what it is and what's going on, and what this is all about. But as I say, I'm doing this video today because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and I'm not attired in red, just my red beads. These I've had for a very, very long time, and they are retro. These would date back to the 20s, I would think. They are glass, and uh, probably back in the days of the flappers. And I was fortunate enough to find these at an antique market that I used to frequent fairly often. And they're, as you can see, they're red and they're glass, whereas so many things today are acrylic or hard plastic or whatever. But these are the real deal, and I just adore them. I don't get to wear them very often. In fact, they're designed, the length of them, as you can see, they're wrapped around once around my neck, and then you can still see the length that comes well down to below my breast line here and down to my stomach. And they are worn to, you can wear them down your back if you have an open back dress. It would be just so elegant. So I'm just going to have a sip of tea here. So happy Valentine's Day. So cheers. And I hope that however you spend your Valentine's Day, that it will be exactly to your liking, the way you hope to have it, and do the things that you want to do. Be with the ones you love, regardless. None of us know what tomorrow's going to bring. It's not promised to any of us. And so, you know, do your will. Do as you want. We are all in God's hands, and He is leading each of us. So, you know, I'm not telling you to throw caution to the wind. I am just saying that live your life, and live your life without fear. Don't be afraid. I also am going to read an excerpt from this is Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary. And this was my very first, um, as you can see, grand scale novel, romance drama that I released in 2013. That's quite some time ago. It garnered a 4-star from Amazon, and it has done quite well. It's got a lot of good reviews that you can go to my website, www.rusty-blackwood.com, and go to the Passions button at the top of the screen. Click on that. It will take you to the Passions in Paris page, and there you can read about the book, and you can read the different reviews, the editorial reviews, as well as different readers that have read it and have kindly posted their reviews and their take on the book, and how they enjoyed it. So I want to read an excerpt from the book. And it's very, very in keeping with Valentine's Day tomorrow. This story does not take place on Valentine's Day or any time around it. It actually takes place in Paris at the turn of the 21st century. And the heroine of the story is Joy Witchmere, and she won a contest in order to get to Paris in the first place, and the prize was an all-paid expense paid trip for two to Paris, to meet and then spend an evening with Colin Malone, who is an Irish actor musician, and he is also Joy's very, very favorite actor and musician, and she has an unexplained connection to him. She doesn't know why, but she never misses his movies. She never misses his music. And so um, she enters a contest, and of course she wins. And her and her husband go there. And her and her husband Dean are they've been married a very long time, and they have children and they have grandchildren. But things are like oftentimes no reason for it. They grew apart, and they're having problems. And Dean also knows about her attraction to Colin Malone. And so, but he's okay with it because he's got his own agenda that he's going to Paris for, that Joy knows nothing about. And so they get there, and part of the prize is it's like for an extended weekend is what the time frame that it's supposed to cover. And they get there, and the part of the prize is for Joy to spend an evening and dinner with Colin Malone. And so this is chapter 15. It is called Life Was Never Like This, and I'm going to pick up partway through the chapter, and this is after their dinner, and they're spending the evening together, and the attraction is front and center. Feels the same towards her. He meets her, of course, and there's like just an instant attraction. It's almost like he's come home. He's met someone that he's known his entire life, yet he doesn't know how. And so as the evening goes on, as you would expect, they're getting closer and closer. And so I'm going to begin here. And this is, I will begin with Cully's narration here. Well, darling, I don't know who's the lucky one here, but I think it's me, 'cause life was never like this until you came along. Come over here and sit down. It's time I told you something, he said, setting the assorted delights upon the sofa. As I approached him, I couldn't help thinking that he was about to tell me his true feelings, that he was finally waking up from wherever he's been, and he's going to tell me goodbye. Settling beside him in an awkward manner, I took a deep breath and turned to him, patiently waiting for my death sentence. Lifting my hands, he looked into my eyes, and once again I could see straight to his soul, as he said, I want you to understand just what you mean to me. I've said some things lately that, well, maybe I shouldn't have, about what I asked. Well, I really meant it, but I know that you can't, and I can't expect you to leave your family to be with me. Cully, please, I tried saying, but he gently squeezed my hand, then continued, No, let me say this. Tomorrow you'll go back with Dean. There, I said his name, but I know where your heart is, and that is a part of you that will always be with me no matter where we are, and I promise I'll be there for you however I can be. This is goodbye, isn't it? I asked sadly, looking into his eyes with hopes I was wrong. Excuse me. Oh, no, darling, it'll never be goodbye. I'll be around. I'll see you whenever you want. I'm not going to leave you, Joy. I will never leave you. I love you. I needed to tell you this to try and make you understand how I feel. You know that, don't you? I've tried every possible way I know to prove it to you. I really do love you, and I'd give anything to stop tomorrow from coming, he said, trying his best to hold his composure. Pulling him tightly against me, I whispered, I love you too, Cully, more than you will ever know. I know how I feel. Really, I do. My God, you've proven that every time you look at me, every smile, even when you cry. You're not about to do that, show your inner feelings, or you're not afraid to do that and show your inner feelings. And I've never known anyone who's touched me so deeply and never asked for anything in return except maybe a glass of wine, a quiet evening under the stars, looking out over Paris and its beautiful lights, riding in an old carriage hand in hand, or simply being together, sharing an embrace, a kiss, or a touch. I'll always be with you, not just my heart, Cully, but my soul, our soul, 'cause I know for sure that they are joined, and nothing can ever change that. We quietly held each other, each knowing what the other was thinking, feeling with every heartbeat, every breath. Tears slid down his face, finding their way upon my cheek, and I felt his body tremble as emotions grew more intense within him. I held him tighter, somehow trying to comfort him and let him know I would hold him for eternity if need be. I had never thought there were I had thought there were no tears left, yet they spilled down my cheeks like a torrent river as I buried my face against his neck, feeling his arms tighten around me. Whoa, darling, this is getting way too heavy. Whatever happened to our plans for a new screenplay? He asked, gazing into my swollen eyes with his own. It sort of got sidetracked, didn't it? I answered, brushing the ever-present lock of hair from his left eye, as well as tears off his cheeks. Suppose we could recall what it's to be about? He asked, standing erect and stretching. I understand I'm to be your leading man. You are definitely my leading man, Cully, and yes, you certainly are to be the lead in the planned scene, I answered, watching him and envious of the supple leather pressed so firmly against his waist, hips, and long, slender legs. Would you care to tell me about the plot? He asked, standing before me, teasing me, I was sure. Huh? Oh, the plot. My voice faltered at the sight before me, but regained a measure of clarity as I answered, Oh, yeah, the plot. Well, now, let me see. How still can you stay without moving a muscle? Standing erect, eyes focused upward, he said, How still can I stay without moving a muscle? Yeah, that depends, I suppose, on what's happening to me. What is going to happen? Well, since I'm directing this scene, I expect my actors to be professional and deliver what I want. Do you think you can possibly do this for me, Mr. Malone? I inquired with zest, trying to sound as much like Mr. DeMille as was humanly possible. I this book can be, and it is in places quite graphic, and it was coming to a place there where, because this is to the general public, um, you have to learn where to stop when you're doing a reading, and but I hope that this book is available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, and all Amazons clear around the world. It's a grand scale. It's an 818-page novel, and I will actually I'll read the back of it here for you. It kind of give you like an overall um, introduction to the book. A Forgotten Diary, lost for 40 years, reveals the story of a rediscovered love nearly lost in 1999 Paris. An unforgettable romance filled with danger, intrigue, and a love without boundaries. Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary, tells the story of forbidden love, salacious adultery, cunning jealousy, and unrequited passion. This complex and stirring story, revolving around star-crossed soulmates Canadian author Joy Witchmere and Irish actor Cullen Malone, tells how their immeasurable love is put to the test by three vindictive people, the worst, namely Philippe Robillard, a delusional, misguided homosexual artist who is determined to make the unsuspecting actor suffer for stealing the man he loves, until he has paid in full with his life. Joy and Cully battle through a series of misunderstandings, embarrassment, torture, and injury until Joy is left fighting to survive a direct gunshot while Cullen is given the choice of consuming a bottle of barbiturates, certain to take his life, or lose joy forever if he does not. If this is not enough, the trapped couple's fate grows direr when fire is discovered raging toward them. Endurance and determination is stretched to the limit, asking if love truly can survive all odds and time. It was an enjoyable story to write. It took me many, many years to write this story. At the time, I was working at the job I once did. I ran a residential cleaning service, and like Monday to Friday, so I could only work on it after work and on the weekend. So it took a while to write it. I had originally put this story out. It was called Passion in Paris, and it was done in two novels. The first novel was Connections to the Past, and the second was Directions of the Heart. But because it was done in two parts, when it was I sent it for valuation and for review by professional reviewers. They didn't understand that this is because of I was very green at the time and didn't really know exactly the proper steps to take. So of course they were evaluating it as the first part as the entire story, and because it stopped and in a very precarious spot. They they did their valuation on that one book as the entire story. So of course it didn't get a very good valuation or review. And so I didn't like that, of course, and so I decided that I want to do this in one book and tell the entire story in one book, which is what I did, and put it out that way. I will never do another grand scale because of, as you can see, I mean, as I say, it's an 818-page book. It is heavy for someone to hold, and of course for the Kindle, you go on forever reading that. But still, I'm glad I put it out in one story because that was the way I wanted it told. Um, and but as I say, I mean, I did it, so I can say been there, done that, and I learned through that that size of a book is not everybody would be comfortable with reading that size of book. Some have no problem reading that kind of book, and just bear with me 1 minute. My computer needs to go on charge here. Just a moment. There. I apologize about that. I'll just adjust this here. Oh, these are maddening when they just sit on the screen and you can't hold them really, really, really directly. Hopefully that'll stay for a bit. It's up a little bit to what it should be. But maybe if I just sit back here, um, it will be better. I'm sorry about that. Usually I have full charge before I begin, but this one wasn't when I turned the video on, and so I apologize for that. Hopefully next time I'll be sure that I have it fully charged, so we won't have an interruption. And so that was why I decided when I did Perils of Autumn, which you can see here, it's my very latest novel, that where it ends, it could end, but I had decided when I was getting near the end of this novel that there was more I wanted to say and some more characters that I wanted to bring into the story. And so, in order to do that, if I had continued on, it would have become another grand scale. And so I decided, no, I would just write a follow up novel, which I am currently still writing. I took a break for it for a while when last year when the virus first came on the scene, and I just, not knowing anything about it at that point in time, how serious it was, you know, I just could not get myself in the right mindset to write. You know, I was worrying not so much for myself, but worrying about my family, my grandchildren, and my little great grandsons, and but eventually, the more I learned about it, the more I researched it and found out what it really is. Um, you know, I was able to get to the place where, if you're a writer, you understand what I'm talking about and what I mean. That where you have to be in order to continue with what it is that you're writing. And so, the novel is called Return to Autumn, and it picks up 4 years later after where The Perils of Autumn leaves off. And so I'm hoping to be able to bring it to publication sometime this year. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to um, go back doing public events and readings and signings and what have you when the novel comes out. I enjoy that. I miss that so very, very much. Um, I love meeting the public, my readers that kindly read my work, and to be shut off from all of that, it is difficult. Um, you know, any writer writes, well, mainly, at least for myself, speaking for myself, I write for my own entertainment, but I'm also hoping that whoever reads my work will be entertained by it, and feel what I feel when I'm creating it. And I'm hoping that everything will work much better, to be able to do that, not just for myself, but other authors, other fellow authors of mine here in St. Catharines and the Niagara region that I've met throughout the years doing different events around the area and throughout the entire peninsula. And I know it's bothering them as well. Um, so, the work is available online for anybody that would like to get a copy of my work. There is my romance dramas, as I say, Passions in Paris, Revelations of a Lost Diary. Um, there is Five Star Willow's Walk was my first 5-star novel, and it is more of a drama, but there is some romance throughout it. And of course, my latest, The Perils of Autumn, which is a 5-star, multi-award-winning novel. It's a romantic drama, and now and will be the coming one, Return to Autumn. And I also, if you're into comedy and you like a good laugh, maybe you might like to check out my Durwood Tugbottom comedy series. It's for adults, and it's all about this eccentric retired city hall official that is very opinionated and very walks his own path, does things his own way, and just gets himself into one fiasco after another. And it's a delightful series. I've enjoyed writing it. I intend to bring out the fourth installment of it. I haven't yet started on that, but it is my hope that I will be able to do that sometime this year and bring the next installment of the series. There's 3 in it so far, and the very first one, The Misadventures of Durwood Tugbottom, and the second is called Durwood Returns, and the third is Durwood Goes Caribbean. And that was a delight to write, and I laughed so much while I was writing it, and the reviews that it's gotten. Um, he's obviously touched people's hearts like he's touched mine. He's based on a character that my brother Rick um, invented, he came up with, and the entire scenario, I explain how Durwood came to be. And when I did The Misadventures of Durwood Tugbottom, which was based on like a silly Christmas gift for my brother from my eldest daughter-in-law. This is many years ago. This was back in 2012, and and it was based on a phone call that he had made to her as Durwood Tugbottom, and and it was just so silly when she told me about the phone call, what it entailed, what it was all about, and what he was going on and on and on about. And so she asked me if I could write a short story based on this silly phone call. And so I did. And she gave it to him for Christmas. And of course, he was very taken with it. And then, so I thought, well, I'm going to lengthen it. I'm going to put it into a comedy short and, and put it out there just for the heck of it and see what people think about that. And, which is what I did, and I dedicated it to Rick, and people loved it. They I got some great reviews for it, and it and the entire Durwood comedy series is available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon, and you can go there and get yourself a copy because they're shorts. They're very inexpensive, and have yourself a good laugh. And I was so touched to think how this silly man, this silly Englishman, was accepted so well and brought so much entertainment to people. And so I was asked if I would write more Durwoods, and so that's how the series came to be. And I will be bringing a new one out. It's called Durwood Comes Home, and but as I say, I haven't started it yet. But keep your eyes open. It will come. And also, I used to do a monthly newsletter. And I started that in 2012, I believe, or 2013. And I did it at the end of every month. And it was you know, telling the news, the literary news of the month for me. And sometimes there wasn't all that much to talk about, but other times, you know, there were happenings, there were events that had taken place, and pictures to post and things like that with interaction with people and talking about my work. Well, as I said, when I put out my last newsletter at the end of December of 2020, I said in that I'd been struggling for quite a few months because there just wasn't much to talk about, and I didn't want to just constantly, you know, just keep advertising my work. That wasn't what the newsletters were about. It was just, you know, having a rapport with my readers, and they could comment or ask questions or whatever, and through the newsletters, and I would get back to them. And it was just keeping people up to date with me with them, and this type of thing. And but it got to the point where there was just absolutely nothing to talk about because there was nothing happening, no news. And so I said at the end of December's newsletter that I would give it some thought, but I thought that it's very unlikely that I'm going to be continuing the newsletter, at least until things progress or start to pick up again. So there's something to talk about. Give the newsletter some body. And so as it stands right now, I'm not doing a monthly end of the month newsletter, but I am going to try to do more videos. So, you know, it's live when I'm doing this. Of course, it won't be when you're watching it, but at least it's continuing connection with my readers, and I've got some fantastic followers and readers that I don't want to lose touch with. And so I'm going to end this video now, and I hope that you'll share it around. I hope you'll comment on it, give me some feedback, and if there's anything you'd like to know or talk about or whatever, please feel free to do so in the comments below. I will be putting in the description what this video is about, and you can check that out. So I wish you all a very lovely Valentine's Day tomorrow. And for Ontario residents, I wish you a very enjoyable Family Day on Monday. And I wish God's blessings to each of you, and know that He has our back. He has us in His hands, and He knows what will be. It will be His will at His time. So for now, I will say bye-bye and take care to all of you. Bye for now.